Hi everyone, this is Liz with 143 Handmade, and I am here today to do another Dephemerember 2022, hosted by 49 Dragonflies and Louise Heinzel. And today I'm doing day 18, handmade stencil and notepad. I'm a couple days behind if you've been keeping track, but you know, I figure these videos are going up and they're staying up, so it doesn't really matter. better done than never, right? Or better late than never? That's what I was trying to spit out. Okay, so handmade stencil and notepad. So I have some papers out to make a notepad out of here in just a second. But I just want to talk to you about the stencils first. So these stencils, let's see, these two are ones that I cut. Let me grab a piece of paper here to put under them. So I cut these out of template material. I actually have it right here. Non-slip vinyl template sheets, 8.5 by 11. Make your own quilt patterns and templates. So this was actually out of my mom's stuff. I don't know when she got it, where she got it, how much it cost, anything like that, but I do know down here it says copyright 2007. So it's not new stuff, but I still have several sheets of it left. I do quilt, and you guys will be starting to see that soon, but I don't use a lot of templates. I don't do a lot of precision quilting. So I am a messy quilter, but you know, anyways. So handmade stencil. So this one, it is supposed to look like birch trees, kind of. You know, that was the look I was going for. And actually, instead of using that lined piece of paper, I'm going to do this and grab my brush and some ink. If I can decide which color I want to go with, that would help, huh? I'm going to go ahead and go with this smoky plum. Yep, this is my purple brush. There's glitter everywhere. I worked with glitter a couple days ago and it's just still everywhere. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move the rest of these stencils out from under. So I've got a flatter surface. Just kind of line it up. And then just so you guys can really kind of see what it looks like, because sometimes when you see the stencil, it's kind of hard to see like what that would actually look like, or for me anyways. I really like to actually see it, you know, used. And this is just a super rough job, so that way you guys can see kind of the shapes, you know, that it gives. And so you can see it's kind of like birch trees. Yeah, there's a little bit of birch trees. And I looked at a bunch online, and you know, I have a really hard time spending money at all. I really don't like to spend money. And spending $20-$30 on a piece of stencil and a piece of plastic that, you know, I'm gonna mess up anyways, because I'm really rough on them. As you could see, that one was jumping around. So, and I had this, so I went ahead and I just cut it. You know, I just freehanded it. I think it looks okay. One of the cool things that I really like about it is when you turn it on the side, especially if you don't include any of the branched areas, it just becomes lines for writing, for handwriting, so that way you have a little bit of guidance. So that's one handmade stencil that I've created. And let's see, here's another one. This one is actually inspired by a tree that we have outside. It is quite bent over. Osage oranges grow in quite a weeping pattern, and so this is basically what the branches look like to me. Obviously it's not exactly the same. They have a lot more branching on them than what I was able to include on the stencil. The branches get very, very thin, so there's just no way that I could have shown that real well in a stencil and still maintained any kind of structural integrity, or at least at my skill level, you know, and with the materials I have at hand. But as you can see, that's what it looks like, which I think it looks pretty cool. So that's another one of my handmade stencils. And actually, those are the only two I have at the moment. I've made others but ruined them. But I was wanting to talk about these real quick. These are the leftover bits after you, if you did any kind of scrapbooking or anything like that, or you source scrapbooking materials, you will come across a sheet like this at some point where it's cardstock. It's not super thin paper. It's not, you know, super thick or anything, but it's cardstock. and you punch the flowers out, and then you're left with this. This is a stencil. This is totally a usable stencil. See? Got me a circle there. And you can use it like this and get an all over pattern, or you can, you know, very deliberately, you know, place, you know, this flower and only get that flower. Obviously you'd have to be more careful than I just was, but you know what I mean. You can see the point. Then you can just jump around and overlay if you want to. I really like doing that, doing stencil on top of stencil. So that's just another idea, you know, and this is the same concept. This is just off of a one of the edging pieces, you know, that you would get out of one of those kits. And just to show you that that can totally be used as a stencil too. If you have the scissors that make the cool edges, you can just cut a piece of cardstock and use that. The stencils are not as tricky to make as they kind of sound. I mean, super high quality ones, you know, that are gonna last you forever, yeah, those are quite a bit harder. But I've also seen people make temporary stencils out of hot glue, and that's something that I want to try. I don't have my glue gun set up today, but I am going to be trying that sometime too. So don't forget to subscribe so you can check that out. So what I was thinking I would do is use my tree stencil on here. And you can see it's obviously bigger than the space, than the paper. That's not a big deal. I'm going to bring back in my other sheet though, so that way I don't get as much ink everywhere. You know, I'll probably still end up getting ink everywhere, but not as much. And get this lined up how I want it. Let's see, wait. I'm going to use this for the cover, so I'm going to fold it. Let's see, which way do I want to be inside? I want this way to be inside. So like that. So now I'm going to lay my stencil in there, and I think I'm actually going to switch from the plum to my black. So switch my brushes. And a little bit of cat hair on there, and a little bit of glitter, just brushing that off to the side. Told you, once you work with glitter, it's just everywhere. Decide where I want my stencil on my cover here. I think I want to put it right on that edge so that way it kind of hangs off, but I want it to look rooted. So I think somewhere like so. And then just go over it. And I want it to be darker at the bottom, so I'm always going to start at the bottom and work my way up, brushing out from that spot. And then I actually think I'm going to bring it back in my purple brush and just use what's already on the brush to give just a little purpley hueing. You know, make it kind of look like an evening sky as opposed to just grayness. I'll hold that off there. And you can see I jumped around a little bit so you can, you know, there's some lines. So, I think it still looks cool. And then I'm actually going to flip it over. And I'm actually, so the stencil was like this on the other cover. I'm going to flip the stencil over this way. And go ahead and line it up in a different place. And you can be as careful with this or as fussy with this as you want, you know, or sloppy. I'm going to go a little bit sloppy here. And go back to my black. And do the same thing, work up from that bottom, so that way it really like just shades it out. That gray. Dark, you know, it stays darker in this one corner as you work your way out. And you know, different stencils have different strengths. This stencil material is not the strongest in the world. And so that's why I can't like go backwards. I have to work in a single direction. But not all stencils are like that. Not all stencil material is like that. My husband at work, he actually needed to make a stencil, and he went to the dollar store and got a couple of plastic file folders and used those as a stencil for at work. So, and he works in a metal shop, so because it was just for marking. But yeah, there we go. That's how our cover looks. You know, and if I had thought about it, I would have left the spine clear so that way it would look more trunk-like. But, you know, didn't think about it. I'm going to go ahead and just go around the whole edge. There we go. Smudge it up a little bit. And this inside, it's got some wonderful old markings on it from who knows what, who knows when. I'm going to go ahead and leave those and not stencil on the inside. Let me close this up before I stick my hand in it. Flip that over. Okay. So I really like to include a little bit of music sheet in all of my little notepads. But this is really brittle, so I think I'll tuck it into a pocket. But then what I'll do is I'll just lay my pages on here and start folding them however I want them to sit. You know, like these. This one, oh my goodness, look at how perfectly that fits in there. And this is just papers that I've picked up over the years at discount stores, on clearance. You know, when I was homeschooling my kids, you can't have enough paper in the house. You just can't. And so I would pick up all kinds of little stuff. And it just, you know, I have little remnants left. So here we go. This is also just an idea for a place to get some lined paper. This is a user manual of something, some electronic that we have in the house. Okay, a CD player, CD, no disc, you know, so... This is obviously not English. I do not know which language this is, but it's not English. But on this side, we've got some pretty cool lines. So, you know, that's a way to get lined paper. A source, you know, that you don't mind tearing up, especially when you're making your first couple journals and you're not even sure really what you're doing, if you like it, you know, how well you're going to be at it, anything like that. Go look at your user manuals. Pull out that, you know, the languages that you don't speak. Pull out that paper. I bet you there's some lined bits back there. Obviously not in every single one, but you know, in some of them. So sometimes I line them up to the right, sometimes to the left. You know, honestly, I don't really make a final decision until I am binding the book. So, here we go. Line this up where I want it. Put this here like so. Kind of flip it up, make sure I'm straightish with that paper. And then I'm just going to tear this off. And then flip it over. Do the same thing, only the other way. On the short side. And I'll save these bits for like snippet rolls. These are great additions to snippet rolls. These are great for lining the inside of various journaling cards and whatnot when you want to add some lines. Those little bits of paper are great. And yes, I know on this paper the lines are going to be going the opposite way, but for such a little notebook it really doesn't matter which direction the lines are going. You can, you know, flip the notepad around pretty easily and quickly. And so, just start layering them back in here. And basically I'm just making a mini junk journal here. You know, if you can do this, you can make a full-size junk journal. They really are this easy. It's just, it's all in the decoration. That's what you're paying for. When you buy somebody else's, you're paying for all the time they spent decorating it. Because the basic construction is not a super difficult thing. So here we go. I'll grab my little pokey tool. I mean, I could pull out my crocodile, but I'm just going to punch a single hole here in the center. Come on. There we go. With my pokey tool. And then I'm going to pull out, I have this little bit of hemp. I'm going to use the green on this one. And they say 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Always add just a little, you know, whatever's between me and the package gets added. Throw that back over there. And then, let's see, I want the strings to hang on the inside. So you start from the inside. Wherever you want your tails to be, that's where you start. And so I just went out through the back. And then I'm gonna come, let's see, I'm gonna try this. This is a new binding method for me, but I think it'll work. Okay, yeah. Come up in the center, or go through the center. Here's the tail. Come all the way around. And then go back into the center from the other side, from the outside in. So that way your tails end up on the inside. Or on the same side. It doesn't, I don't think it matters if it's on the inside. You just have to both be on the same side. I have a little fuzzy there. Okay, now it's not wanting to just feed through, so what I'm gonna do is take my pokey tool and push it. And if that doesn't work pretty quickly, then, because sometimes that's just easier than fighting a needle, you know. Just making the hole a little bit bigger. Okay, I think if I snip off this squish tip, now that the hole's so much bigger, I think it'll go through. If not, then I'm gonna grab out my needle. Here we go, I think I got it. Yeah. Come on. See what I did there? The outer part came loose, so I'm gonna go ahead and reach up here. Grab my needle. Nope, not that one. That one's got too small of an eye. Let's see, I've got... Nope, that's not what it is. Here's my needles. I have to keep everything tucked away because of the cats, and so sometimes it's tucked away from me. And I forgot where I stuck it. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that a little bit. So that's part of the reason why you want to make sure that you have a little bit of extras. That way if you mess up and you got to snip it off, you can. And you'll still be able to, you know, accomplish the task of binding it. But if not, I can always snip another piece. No. Okay, so now that I'm on my needle, flip it through the hole, which is of course going to tear the hole even bigger, but that's okay. So, take it back off that needle and go ahead and put that away. I really need to create a needle book for on my desk. Okay, see how it kind of got pulled a little tight there and it's ripping a little bit? Yeah, don't want that. That's what not to do. Okay, so I'm going to pull back on that. And then straighten these guys up a bit. Now, like I said, I've never tried this method before of the all the way around. I've always done the 3 holes. So, you know, thought I would give it a shot. It would probably work great if you were working on a harder back, you know. But since this is just little, you know, heavyweight paper, it's not even truly cardstock. It's just kind of not my best idea. But it'll still do the job. Okay, so now I've got one bit on each side, and I can go ahead and tie my knot here in the center. So, but that's just, you know, one way of binding a little notebook like this. And then fold her back up. And there you go. I can, you know, kind of looks upside down, but that's okay because you can't read any of that anyways. You know, doesn't matter which way it goes. There we go. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe.